And welcome, everyone. Hello out there in Lyndhurst. To the whole community, welcome to Lyndhurst Community News. Today is Wednesday, November 29th. This is episode 34. And I'm Brian Haggerty, your host. I'd like to welcome you all here, and thank you for those of you who write in to ask different questions or to provide information. And that's why if you have any news about your club, your organization, church, your school, your team, as well as birthdays and anniversaries of note, send them to lyndhurstcommunitynews@gmail.com so that we can report on them every Wednesday on this episode. All right, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I can't believe it has come and gone already, and Friday is the 1st of December. And as of that date, Christmas will only be 25 days away. Hard to believe. And you know how quickly those 25 days are going to fly. Everything seems to be flying so quickly these days. I don't know what it is. Am I the only one feeling that way? I seem to ask a lot of people, and everybody agrees that for some reason, life just seems to be speeding by. So that's why it's important every day to live your life, to live it in the moment, and to appreciate everything around you. If there's something for which you need or something that you can be appreciative of, appreciate it. Let your heart be filled with appreciation. I have learned in life that that's one of the greatest things you can do for yourself, is to focus on that for which you are appreciative. If you focus on your problems, you're going to stay within your problems. But when you focus on that which you appreciate, it just changes the wiring of your brain. I'm telling you, give it a try. And I know a lot of you already do that. Anyway, this is a very short news week, and I have a feeling it's going to be that way for the next several weeks, only because it is the holidays, so everyone is busy. Christmas parties are taking place, so there isn't really much to report in terms of news. So I'm going to take a different tack. I do have some news to report today, but I'm going to take a different tack this month. I've already I reached out to Joe Cofone, our unofficial historian who wrote that amazing book about Lyndhurst history. And I asked him if he had any historical knowledge of anything pertinent to Lyndhurst history around Christmas. Now, I didn't get to him until yesterday, and obviously with the episode today, he wouldn't have had much time to compile anything. But he did give me a couple of very good ideas, one of which was to post into some of the groups on Facebook to ask people if they have any specific memories of Christmases gone by. And again, I didn't have enough time to compile all of it, but I got some decent responses, and we're going to read through some of them after we get through the news. Now, December 9th, that's next Saturday, we have basically a full day of Christmas and holiday events. And it's going to begin with the Santa Parade, which is actually hosted by the Lyndhurst First Responders. That's our police, fire, and emergency responders. Santa will be making his way around town, up and down the streets in a caravan of first responder vehicles. And Santa's always accompanied, of course, by some helpers and some other characters. Even the Grinch shows up, by the way, which is pretty interesting. Why would the Grinch be there? I thought he hates Christmas, but they'll be there. So make sure your children are out on the streets, and they throw little bags of candy for them. I know some of the adults like to go for the candy themselves, but it's a great holiday event. Brings the community together, and it begins at 3 o'clock, and it goes till about 5 o'clock. As I say, they'll be making their way up and down. Not every single street, and I'm not sure of exactly, but it is the main streets, and it's up and down. I know I'm here on 2nd Avenue. I know they always come down 2nd. 2nd is kind of one of the main streets. So I wasn't able to see a map, but you'll hear them. Believe me, you'll hear them. They'll be out there. So you don't want the kids to miss that. And, of course, Mayor and Robert Jangeruso and the Board of Commissioners will also be escorting Santa around the town. But then afterward, at 5:30, we have what has become one of our greatest holiday traditions here in Lyndhurst, and that is the 18th annual Holiday in the Township Park. That's where we light the Christmas tree. We have hot chocolate, and I believe there's hot apple cider, and a couple of things, a whole bunch of things going on for the kids. They used to have a hayride. I'm not sure if they're doing that this year, but all I know is it's a wonderful night. and it brings the community together. Everybody comes out for it. So don't forget, that starts at 5:30, and all of that takes place right in our township park on Delafield Avenue. And also, the fire department has been selling their Christmas trees in the courts on Delafield Avenue across from the park. They used to sell it right at the firehouse. For whatever reason, they're no longer selling them there, so they're at the courts. Now, this Friday, they'll be closed, but they will be open this Saturday on the 2nd, and they'll be there until all of the trees are sold out. Now, the trees are $75 each. They're all basically the same size. And like everything else, they've gone up in price. But remember that the proceeds from this help to support our volunteer fire department. So if you are buying a tree, please consider purchasing your tree from the Lyndhurst Fire Department because you'll be helping out our volunteers when you do so. Okay, moving on. Okay, so A&M Music Center, which is located at 238 Stuyvesant Avenue here in town. And some of you may remember back in the summer I did a spotlight on A&M. Now, that's Alan Misano is the owner, a great guy. And by the way, if you're looking for records, CDs, DVDs that you probably can't find anywhere else, he's got them. And if he doesn't have them, he can order them for you. It's a great place. Go in there. You can get lost. But anyway, they are hosting a Toys for Tots concert this Saturday, December 2nd at 3 p.m. And it's going to be featuring Tony Forte. Now, let's see what else he's got here. He's going to have he's going to have some local and some known talent there performing. So if you're going to come, bring a new unwrapped toy, and you'll be entered into the raffle for a super prize. So again, that's this Saturday, December 2nd, 3 p.m. at A&M Music at 238 Stuyvesant Avenue in Lyndhurst. And if you have any questions, you can email Alan at Alan Misano, that's AlanMaisano at hotmail.com if you have any questions. Now, we're moving on to a very heartfelt story in the wake of a very horrible local tragedy that took place last spring. But, and again, this is why I love this community so much. People always come together to help one another. Now, back on October 1st, we had our second annual Antique Car Show, which was, again, something by Mayor Robert Giangiarusso, another tradition that he has set up. And this year, the car show was held in support of the Sapo family. Now, the Sapo family recently, as I said, they faced an unimaginable tragedy. Now, both the father, Robert, and his son, John, had lost their lives during a tragic car crash on their way back from a Boy Scouts camping trip. And I'm sure we all remember that. And the community came together and extended their support to the Sapo family, generously donating to aid the family, which, of course, is what we do. Now, at this past Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, November 21st, Mayor Giangiarusso proudly presented all of the proceeds from that event, less the expenses, to Erica Sapo, the wife and mother. The proceeds totaled $12,793. Now, also the father left behind, there was another son in the car who, thank God, survived. But it was a terrible tragedy, but it's wonderful to show how in this town, when one suffers, we all suffer with you, and we all help you out. All right, now just this section, we're going to talk about some memories of Lyndhurst Christmas and things we used to do. And so I put that out there on Facebook. And as I said, I didn't have a chance. I should have done it a little earlier, but I got a few responses, which I thought were great. Let's see. So I asked people just to share. What do they remember? What stands out of their memory about Lyndhurst and Christmas time growing up? So Richie Jasinski, he wrote that he remembers visiting Santa at the firehouse and receiving a Christmas gift. Phyllis Sosienski responded by saying that many years ago, in the late 50s, a few of her friends in the 7th and again in the 8th grade in Washington School went Christmas caroling, and the money that they collected, they donated to Boys Town in Kearney. She says, I remember feeling for the first time in my young life the happiness of giving and how blessed my life was. That's beautiful, Phyllis. Jackie McKeever responded by saying she remembers Dr. Colleen's house. Now, I remember hearing about her house. I forgot what street it's on, but apparently it was decorated absolutely beautifully. Patty Jo Maston responded by saying, I remember St. Michael's Church Christmas parties. She said, my dad would drive the school bus to the orphanage in Nutley and Boys Town and bring the children to see Santa, get gifts, and have great food. It was a special Christmas tradition, and we all go to watch The Wizard of Oz and, of course, The March of the Wooden Soldiers. Thanks you for that, Patty. My cousin David Cornell answered by saying, and he told me something that I had not known, but he remembers going to the AmVets, where his cousin and my uncle, Caesar Guidetti, would dress up as Santa Claus. And Caesar was a big guy, so I'm sure he didn't need any padding in his suit. Now, for me, I remember going, my father would always take me to the Fountains of Wayne. Okay, that's not Lyndhurst, but every Christmas, that was an annual tradition because it was like going to Disney World for me. Seeing all those incredible displays and the moving animatronic Santas and Mrs. Claus and the elves and the reindeer, it was spectacular. I miss Fountains of Wayne. I think we all do. And those were just great childhood memories. But I also remember the Yule Log on Channel 11 WPIX. Now, it was on there for years, and of course the tradition was you get up in the morning and we would watch March of the Wooden Soldiers, which they also play annually on Thanksgiving Day on WPIX, one of my all-time favorites because I'm a big Laurel and Hardy fan, by the way. And that was how I got exposure to Laurel and Hardy as a kid. Now, they had taken the Yule Log off for many years, and people just kept complaining and complaining. They wanted it back. Because what would it be like in the Northeast, in northern New Jersey, without putting on the Yule Log and listening to that beautiful Christmas music that would go on for, I believe, 3 hours. And then it went off the air at midnight for Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral, midnight Mass. So that's what I always remember. And, of course, I also remember on Christmas Eve, back in the day when It's a Wonderful Life was on nearly every channel on Christmas Eve. And that's because the copyright had run out. That was before somebody bought the copyright and took it off. Now it's only played once, but we all have it. Whether it's on DVD or if it's in your digital library, we all have the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which is one of my all-time favorite movies because it always reminded me of Lyndhurst, Bedford Falls. It had that small-town feel, a community where everyone knows one another, and most importantly, everyone comes together to help, as I've always been saying. That's what makes this town so special. And that's why I always say that a community is not made of its roads, buildings, or homes. A community is made of its people. So that brings us to the end this week. And like I always tell you, we're getting into the holidays. You're putting up all those Christmas lights. Make sure you get your smoke alarm batteries checked, change them. CO2 detector, carbon monoxide, that saves lives. And remember to help your neighbors. And don't forget the Lyndhurst Food Bank this holiday season. They are always in need of more and more supplies. So anyway, folks, until next week, where we'll share some more Christmas history, this is Brian Haggerty wishing you a wonderful week. God bless you.